There are four elemental forces in our world: earth, water, wind, and fire. They all impact what we eat. We need earth to grow the food. We need water to sustain it. The wind brings oxygen and carbon dioxide for that necessary gas exchange, but only fire has the power to transform what we eat. Come on, let me take you where the food comes from. For ancient humans, eating was a haphazard affair. We were hunter-gatherers. We didn't know how to grow food. We didn't know how to control food. We didn't know how to preserve food. So we were constantly on the move looking for something to eat. Nuts and berries, whatever we could come across. When we found protein, which was very important, it was not in a way you would want to eat it today. There wasn't a 7-Eleven on every corner. You couldn't come to Fresh Air Barbecue in Jackson, Georgia and get barbecue on demand. In fact, if you were lucky, some big predator had maybe taken down an animal and left some behind that you and your party could really power through and chew it raw. It took a long time to eat that way. You weren't getting a whole lot of nourishment. Fire transformed that, gave us the capacity and the ability to quickly consume more protein. That made our brains grow. We got smart enough to invent barbecue. Now, nobody knows when that really happened. I suspect one of those ancient bands of wanderers, there was a lightning strike somewhere, maybe a forest fire, and there was a smell in the air. Somebody had roasted a boar. It happened naturally. When they found it, they found really what's still our basic barbecue today. All right, the magic is in this box. You know, like a lot of good things in the food and farming world, barbecue wakes up early. It's about 8:15 here in the morning in Jackson, Georgia. But these hams have been in here. This is the magic pit. This is where all the magic happens at Fresh Air Barbecue and has for a long, long time now. Shane, you've got a very important position here. You're the man who mans the pit.
Sure.
What's in here is what you're going to be serving people coming from all over today. Now, are they pork shoulders? Or are they butts? That's what people usually barbecue. What do you do? What does Fresh Air do?
We use fresh hams only.
A whole ham.
Whole ham, yep.
So that's going to be a leaner meat. It's going to take up less space on your grill.
And cook it in the skin so it takes a little longer.
So here we are standing here about 20 till 8. We're about to pop the lid on this. What time did these go in here last night?
I put them on yesterday morning at 7 a.m.
Yesterday morning.
Sure.
So this is 24 hours.
24 hours.
And this magic piece of, it's not really a machine, it's not really equipment, it's just kind of magic. This pit does all of the work. What's the wood?
We use hickory, pecan, and white oak.
And what you're cooking with the smoke more than, certainly not with the flame.
Right.
You're cooking with smoke and the indirect heat that's coming off of this pit, and it does something absolutely magical to these hams.
That's right.
Can we see what it does?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's look. Wow. Now, if you've ever tuned up your barbecue grill out back, you probably hoped that something like this was gonna come off of that. That's what 24 hours of low, slow, indirect heat and smoke is gonna do to a meat. Shane, I have no idea what you do with them from now, but.
Well, usually we check for doneness.
Okay.
But I can tell you just by looking at them that they're done.
Look at that. That, ladies and gentlemen, is barbecue.
And you see it's just dripping.
All right, a lot of work to do here yet. That's just how the day starts. You open the pit, you get the incredible, if you could put your head right here where mine is, you might just crawl on in there with it. But we're gonna see what happens to the rest of this.
Quite frankly, he really didn't really want any of us to follow in his footsteps, so to speak, because he thought you could find something easier to do. Well, he was very disciplined. He was an early riser. He liked to get up at about 4:30, get down here, well, really about 4:30. And he came every day, 7 days a week. And he had a work ethic and expected everybody else to have one too. Well, originally this was just a shed. And then he had an open pit that ran the length of the floor of the whole shed, and where he would take, and cook down coals and put the coals under the meat. And it was that way for a number of years until my grandfather came in the early 50s and built a pit. So therefore, when you're cooking with coals, you really don't have that much wood, per se there, but with the method we use now, you get a lot more smoke. This pit cooks at different times of year, depending on what the wind's doing outside, the temperature outside. Springtime, it doesn't cook as well with high winds. It's something you have to learn how to do over time.
My granddaddy was a stickler about keeping things the same, and so that's what we've tried to do, just keep it consistent and keep it the same, It's a lot easier when you got people piling in out the back door waiting in the line, so you don't have to fool with ribs and chicken and all that. It's just, we just keep it simple to where we can serve the people something good as quick as we can.
What really put us on the map as far as traffic was back during the 60s when the interstate system was being built. For several years, the whole interstate came right in front of our front door right there, because it was the traffic, as the interstate was being built, it was routed off, and this was the main thoroughfare for all the interstate traffic. Of course, stew was just basically something that was put together with leftovers that people had, and I guess the name came from Brunswick, Georgia, is where the original stew. He had a concept of having the best stew, and all we really use is, corn, onions, potatoes, and beef and tomato products. The stew recipe hasn't changed probably in 75 years.
Actually, our great-grandfather was considered the old stew maker of the county, and then my granddaddy picked it up from him. And then, my grandfather did make some changes a little bit along the way from the original, because it used to have hog head meat and all that in it back in the day. So he did modify it, and so basically we use just a lean beef in it, and my grandfather perfected it in the, probably early 50s when you say to where it is today. And so we try to keep it the absolute same and use the best ingredients and the leanest meat we can.
All right, Shane, so we got yesterday's work off the pit already. That's what people will be eating today. But now, even before 8 a.m., you got to get tomorrow's lunch and dinner going.
That's right.
So now these are whole hams out of North Carolina, and they're looking pretty good. What do we do to prepare these to go on here?
Open them up, throw them in. No seasoning, no rub.
What seasons the meat? Where does that flavor come from?
It's all from the wood.
That's all from the wood.
All from the wood,
It's all
yes,
in
sir.
the smoke. All right, well, let's go to work.
All right.
So you slit the bag
Sir,
and then just set it on?
set it on there.
What do these things weigh, Shane?
Around 18 to 20 pounds.
18 to 20 pounds. That's not your Christmas ham.
And that's it.
So now it's time to restoke the pit.
Yes, sir.
We're one of, a few old-time restaurants that that are still around, and probably the only one that still does things like, you know, we originally did back in the day. So yeah, it is important, you know, and it's an important tradition to carry on to future generations as to what, you know, what things were like in the, you know, in the 20s and 30s and therefore, and before that, you know, like I say, the whole history of when we first had fire, and obviously fire is still here and an integral part of our being, so, and will be for the foreseeable future, I would think.
All right, Shane, it's about 10:30 in the morning. Those hams that we pulled off earlier today, it's time for you to transform them this next step and turn them into this last step of magic. You're about to do some chopping.
Right. This is the ham hock. I pulled the ham hock out. There should be 3 bones in here. I make sure I get all of them. There was 1, 2, so I'm missing 1. There it is right there, 3rd one. And I'm gonna pull the skin off. And then from here, I usually try to grab the ends, the burnt ends, throw them in there. I'm gonna chop them up a little more than the rest of the barbecue. Puts that flavor all in there. And from there, I try to separate all the muscles. That way you can get all the bad stuff out from the middle of it.
That's just falling apart at your touch.
Oh yeah,
That's what 24 hours in there will do.
that's right. And I just want to let it go around one time. That's it. I probably do at least 100 hams a week myself, maybe more than that. Is it?
That's art, Shane. That's art right there. So Charles, you are, let's count the generations. How many are you? I believe Toots Caston was your great-grandfather?
Yes, sir.
So your father, your grandfather wasn't really involved in the business. He had other things.
So my grandmother was Toots' daughter,
Okay,
and then that's my dad and George are her sons,
okay.
David.
And David is your dad. So now
Fourth
you're
generation.
the 4th generation, and that's beyond Dr. Watkins, who started it all back originally.
Yes.
So you're the 4th generation coming through this door. You were actually teaching at a university. Did you ever think, did you ever feel, this is in my blood, it's inescapable, it's gonna draw me back?
Starting during COVID, sort of that time, it's when I came down here because I didn't have to be in the classroom every day.
Right.
Wasn't, everything went online, so I could do it kind of from anywhere. In fact, I taught some classes from here, actually. But, you know, it was coming here and then feeling the history and coming back to a place that I've always loved and knew, and to the people that, you know, that I grew up with. I mean, I've known a lot of the folks that work here a good half of my life at least, and just sort of coming back and feeling, getting back where your roots are, so to speak. So, and getting really more involved as sort of time has gone on, and doing a little bit more here and there on the day-to-day side of everything, and just really finding a passion for something that I didn't really know that I had.
Obviously, there's cook-offs everywhere and everything else, but there's also a very serious side to barbecue couture.
There is.
And we've seen the influx from around the world: Mongolian barbecue, Korean barbecue. Every culture's got a barbecue because we all started cooking with fire.
Yeah.
We may not do that forever. We may have sous vide, or we may cook with laser beams, or we don't know what we're gonna do. Started with fire. Fire has sustained us for countless thousands of years. There's an art, there's a craft. It's not as simple as lighting a fire and cooking something.
You know, we have a very time-honored, sort of more basic method of doing it that is tradition proven, and you know, that's something that we really take pride in, that I take pride in as the next generation, to be able to continue to provide that sort of, that taste, that memory that everybody has, and that sort of, and it's special to be able to do something in this world of food where you go and you get something really quickly, that may not have taken a day to cook.
Now I know there's been other occasional experiments, and looking at this and looking at that, I saw an old newspaper article that said at one point, I think in 1946, he decided to offer beer on the menu. And he did, and he said, I think there's a quote in that paper says, I wouldn't take $100,000 to do it again.
Right.
He said it changed the whole flow and nature. You're not really looking to get people to come in here and spend 3 hours over a leisurely dinner. You're trying to feed a bunch of hungry people some really good food.
Well, that's we were kind of guess some of the original fast food in some sense. not that our food's
not fast for you.
It's fast service, and you're looking to turn over your tables, and so therefore, if you go to a sit-down restaurant, it takes 30 minutes to get your meal, and then you might take you 30, 45 minutes to eat, so you got a table tied up for an hour and a half or two. And you get here, and once you sit down, you're probably through eating in 20 minutes. So you can turn your tables a lot faster that way.
Does it ever surprise you that people feel the way about this place that they do? Because there's something really personal about it. And I think everybody who comes through here, who's been here before, has their own story, their own piece of history connected to it.
Well, I think, I think it's generational too. You may have been here with your dad or your granddad, and you look back at that later on and want that experience again. So I think it's a generational thing, and the food's good, and they like to. That's the reason they come back.
I came with my dad. I brought my son. I got a pack of grandkids coming along that I cannot wait to bring through this door.
Well, we appreciate that. We need them all.
Keep cooking it.
That's right.
Okay, so now we've got some experience here, no experience over here. Where are you from?
Austin, Texas.
This is your first fresh air barbecue sandwich?
Yes.
Austin knows a little something about barbecue too.
Yeah, they do.
All right, what do you think?
It's great. It's better than, Austin doesn't know how to cook pork.
Now that's true. All our friends in Texas will tell you there's no such thing as barbecue that's not beef.
Yeah.
But our friends elsewhere know very much otherwise.
Yeah.
Miss Jan,
Yes,
have you been to Fresh Air Barbecue before?
many, many times.
Many times.
Yes. Oh, I've been coming for probably 50 years.
Oh my goodness. The history that's here, the legacy that's here. You've got personal history here.
I sure do.
You've got family history here. There's a lot of memories for you
They
here.
sure are. They sure are. My children grew up on barbecue. And my husband, who passed away about 5 years ago, this was the only place for him. Like I said, barbecue meant fresh air
Right?
in Jackson.
So Eric, where are you from?
Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia. You ever been to Fresh Air Barbecue before?
Never.
What brought you here today?
I was visiting the park right down the road.
Okay. You have not yet had a bite of this.
No.
All right, we're
Try it
gonna
out?
witness. Yeah, America's watching. Let's see what.
Oh, wow. Very good. Different type of barbecue. And the bonus stew is fabulous too, by the way.
It's an old recipe we hear. We're told. So barbecue in your life, in your world, in your experience, like this, not like this, different kind of stuff.
I like, there's many different types of barbecue. I do like ribs also. Well, this is good. Good pulled barbecue. It's pulled really nicely.
Just waiting on you. We'll let you get back.
All right. This stew is something else, though. I'm telling you what. I'm going to get another one.
You heard it here. Jim Corbin,
Hey,
you've got some official bona fides here.
yeah,
I like to think that I'm a pretty good barbecue taster,
right.
but I don't have any credentials behind it. You, on the other hand, have quite an impressive rack of credentials. Tell us who you are, what you do.
I'm a master barbecue judge in the Kansas City Barbecue
That's
Society.
the one, the Kansas City Barbecue Society. You're master judge there.
Yeah, and I'm also in the Georgia Barbecue Association. But this place is a place I like to come every 3 or 4 months You know, this kind of a place is great. When you go to these competitions, what you're eating is, they spend a lot more time because the restaurant can't spend that much time. But this restaurant is close to competition barbecue. This place that we're at today.
Just on their day in, day out.
Yeah, and that's day in.
They are right there running neck and
that
neck.
flavor is there, and it's not overdone. It's done, but it's done well. You know, it's just meat and fire and smoke. It's nothing fancy, but it's great.
Fresh Air Barbecue has been around almost 100 years now. The art they practice is unknowingly ancient. Technology changes everything, and probably someday it'll change this too. I just hope we don't forget how to do it out here, where the food comes from.